Okay, welcome to another Team Clueless Battle Report. We're playing a 3-player game of 40k today, but this time it's 3 different sides. So we're using some homebrew 3-player rules, which I shall just briefly go through. Because the way you set up in this is one player chooses a point on the table, and then the other 2 players have to in turn choose points, and there's distances involved. I won't go into it in huge detail. The table needs to be quite densely packed with terrain, so all players get a fair crack of the whip with being able to get a decent starting location. So, the table, as you can see, nicely dense. The rules for it are, there are 4 objectives. There is one in the centre. He's worth 5 victory points. Try and keep up with this. And then each player has an objective in their deployment zone. One here, which Chris has deployed. He's playing Imperial Guard today. One over here, which Paul has deployed. He's playing his Eldar. And my Grey Knights have deployed over here. Each of those, if you hold your own objective, is worth 3 victory points, but if you manage to capture one of the opponents, is worth 4 victory points. Also, there are kill points in this. Oh no, lots of victory points. You'll notice that is a theme in my missions. You get the victory points for a unit if it's fully wiped out and you wiped out the majority of it. If there's a tie in who wiped out the majority of an opponent's unit, then the person who killed the last model or did the last wound gets to get the victory point. Okay, so you take it in turns as in a normal game of 40k, so it goes one player, another player. There's no random stuff for the turn order, which there used to be in the old 40k rulebook. And the only other point of interest is you are allowed to shoot into close combats that involve none of your models. And close combats happen every turn as long as one of that player, the player whose turn it is models, is involved in that close combat. Hope that all makes some kind of sense. Send me a nice little note if you want it explained in more detail. Okay, we're each bringing 1,000 points today, and I brought 1,000 points of Grey Knights, said the Imperial Guard looking over at Chris's. Look how many models he's brought compared to my paltry little force. So, in my force, I am led by an Inquisitor in Terminator armour with a Psy Cannon. He's leading 5 Grey Knight Terminators with a Psy Cannon, a couple of halberds and a hammer. I have another Auto Xenos Inquisitor this time. She's a level 1 Psyker, and she is leading a group of Death Cult Assassins. There are 5 of those, 2 Crusaders and 3 Acolytes with Melter Guns. They'll be riding around in the Storm Raven with multi-melters and las cannons. Or sorry, multi-melters and assault cannons even. We have as our second troop choice a group of 10 Strike Knights. They've got 2 Psy Cannons and Psy Bolt ammo, and they're rocking a Rhino. That's about it. Very small.
And as Mighty Voik Mai said, I'm bringing the Imperial Guard, and here's an example of standard template construction. Here's a partially constructed Chimera. Almost constructed, nice to paint one, so there you go. That's the threat from there. 3 Chimeras, and a Executioner with Plasma Cannon sponsons, Manticore, this is a Bane Wolf, so it's got the chemical attack and the heavy flame on the front. And the obligatory squads of Imperial Guardsmen to make up my troop choices. A Vet Squad with Melters, of course, because that's the law. A Raw Platoon Command Squad. And a Company Command Squad with Trip Plaz. They're in a Chimera, they're in a Chimera, and they're in a Chimera. The others are walking. And that's it, really.
And finally, the Eldar offering. The Eldar, 1,000 points, so obviously we're being led by Eldrad. He's going to be rocking around with 6 Fire Dragons in a Wave Serpent with double Shuriken on top and a Shuriken cannon underneath. We've got a unit of Guardians with a Scatter Laser, a unit of Guardian Jet Bikes with a Shuriken cannon, the obligatory 3 Wall Walkers with 6 Scatter Lasers between them, and then rounding it out we've got 2 Fire Prisms, and that's my lot. Okay, so end of turn 1. The Grey Knights are up first. They've moved up a little bit, and the Psy Cannons shot out at the Imperial Guard. You managed to get a good result on this Lehman Russ, managing to shake it. And what did your other Psy Cannon shoot at?
The ones from the Terminators shot at that Chimera.
And the ones over here, yeah, of course, taking off 2 hull points.
And the ones from the back of the Rhino were the ones that shot the Lehman Russ.
Then on the Imperial Guard's turn, they repositioned a little bit, as you can see. Plasmas from the Veterans, what is the Command Squad?
The Company Command Squad.
Company Command Squad took 2 hull points off the Rhino and shaken the crew. But then the MVP for this turn was definitely the Manticore, which managed to drop 3 templates on my little parking lot of tanks. And as you can see, it's done quite a number on them. So both my fire prisms have taken 2 hull points and have been immobilised and were shaken. And the fire prism, sorry, the Wave Serpent managed to get away with just losing a hull point to a glancing hit. and the Guardians had to hit the deck. So my turn therefore didn't really involve very much because I had these 2 shaken results. So, and the Guardians were on the floor, so I just moved my Fire Dragon up, I keep calling it Fire Dragon because there's Fire Dragons in it. My Wave Serpent up a bit, and we took some shots with the Shuriken cannons at this Bane Wolf, something Wolf, to no avail. So that's the end of turn 1.
End of turn 2, and the fighting's heating up here. The Storm Raven came on, and these nice Melter Boys with their Snapfire got bring it down orders from their commander.
I had my turn of it first.
It's true. He did bring it on and shot, and what did you actually achieve?
I killed the thing that had the Melter Boys in, who then returned the favour.
It's true. They blew up the Chimera which these boys were in and killed a whole guardsman over here, from what I remember. And in return for that glory, a bring it down order from these command squad over to these melters, blew that up. Unfortunately, the men inside, out of the 8 strength 10 AP 1 hits, well, yes, these
wounds,
yes, the storm shields took them all, died, but they just absorbed so many wounds that the rest of the unit is pretty much okay. This Chimera was taken out by the plasma guns in here. The guys got out and they're relatively unscathed. The Manticore did pop at them though, because they're a bit of a threat with those Psy Cannons, and blew up 2 of the Psy Cannons because it's barrage.
No, it was 1 Psy Cannon, 1 other thing.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, because you didn't put it on top of a Psy Cannon.
Oh, I wasn't looking over there. But yes, so that's taken out a Psy Cannon and another guy. This unit over here are entirely untouched, creeping through the wilderness because the treacherous Eldar who said they would fire at them didn't. Traitorous Eldar scum. And
it's not traitorous, it's just being sensible.
So what happens, my Bane Wolf charged up where that crater was and killed a few of the Guardians, and well, the rest of the story you could tell because there's a crater there. Because the Fire Dragons came out and absolutely tore it to pieces. It exploded, but nowhere near enough distance to actually hurt them. This then flew around and attacked the side armour of the Chimera and stunned it. Then both the treacherous Eldar scummy fire prisms shot at a Chimera with their narrow focus fire and did a whole point to it. Otherwise, the tank, my Lehman Russ managed to evacuate enough backwards that it actually might not be completely crippled next turn. We'll wait and see.
And Paul's reserves as well.
And Paul's reserves failed to come on. So yes, the story of reserves is they ain't here. Beyond that, all is as you see it.
Okay, so turn 3. So my poor dudes over here who were sitting in this crater after bailing out of their Storm Raven and landing on their Storm Shields, they decided revenge. They popped out of their crater, and unfortunately, because there wasn't a whole lot of space to go, I had to crowd in quite close to Chris's Chimera and then triple melter it. This resulted in an explosion. What a shock. Killed 3 of my dudes and I think
one of mine.
One of Chris's dudes in the explosion wasn't so good, but then I charged in and beat up the squad and killed them all after the combat. This squad of here moved forward into Stormbolter range and fired at the remains of the veteran squad who had killed the Storm Raven. They failed their leadership chest after 2 of their number died, and then they failed to rally at the start of Chris's turn, so unless they rally on Chris's next turn they'll definitely be off the board. Other stuff of mine, the Terminators, they decided they had to kill the Plasmacutioner. It's got 2 hull points left. They only need to get 1 hull point on it, but their double Psy Cannon failed to do the job, so it then returned fire. So on Chris's turn, as I just said, he fired over here, took out a couple of my Terminators. He first rank fired, second rank fired, but failed his leadership check. So all of these guardsmen, they just las rifled against my Inquisitor squad over here. I think they killed 1 model. The Manticore at the back decided that these were the juiciest targets, but it scattered quite far and failed to kill any of them. His squad over here, Chimera and the squad that were in it, the squad is now in this ruins. Both units took pot shots at the Fire Dragons in this ruin, but their fortuned armour was enough to protect them. So then we moved on to Paul's turn. Both his reserves turned up, with the Warwalkers walking on this table edge. I really wanted them over on that table edge. So he basically opened fire with most stuff at the Terminators. So he fired the Warwalkers, the Shuriken cannons on the Wave Serpent, the jet bikes that arrived also took shots. And they all fired into the Terminators along with 1 of his fire prisms. The Terminators are now down to 1 Terminator and an Inquisitor, which isn't favourite. He also fired his fire prism over at the squad in that ruin and took out a fair few of them. Chris, as usual for Chris, was rolling awfully for his saves. The fire dragons just moved forward and popped the chimera that squad started the turn in. So now we'll be moving on to turn 4.
Okay, so turn 4, the Grey Knights opened up proceedings, and the what they call Acolyte unit had a melter gun shot at the back of the Manticore, but didn't manage to save me. That's now our own drive of missiles, at least, so we can stop worrying about that quite so much. These Strike Knights swept back and took some shots at my War Walkers, taking one of them out. The Terminators in the middle continue to have their duel with the Lehman Russ Plasmary one, but didn't manage to do anything to it this turn, being down to just one side cannon. Then the Imperial Guard returned fire. They managed to put some casualties onto the Acolyte squad. Did they make a leadership check?
He only killed one of them, I think.
No,
two died of 5.
Leadership check on camera. They're okay, not very exciting.
The Manticore then fired its salvos down to where my 2 fire prisms have been sitting there immobilised all day, taking them out, which is worth 2 kill points, so definitely worth doing. In a bit of a contrast to the epic Terminators versus Lehman Russ tank, we've got 3 Imperial Guard fighting some fire dragons. They're just trading fire. The Imperial Guard have had to hit the deck. Over here, the Eldar don't follow these rules and codes of conduct of battle, so we didn't really care about this so-called duel that was going on. We steamed forward and shuriken cannoned the Inquisitor and managed to kill him by doubling his toughness. And the War Walkers returned to fire on the Strike Knights, but only managed to kill one of their number. And that was all. So turn 5, potentially the last turn of the game, coming right up. Going into the last turn, the scores are...
I have 5 kill points. Now this is a total of kill points and secondary missions so far, because we're not playing the one where you have to get in the opponent's deployment zone, and we're not playing First Blood due to the nature of the freeway mission. But we obviously get kill points and we're playing Kill the Warlord. So I have 5, mostly from Chris's units, and I killed his Warlord. Paul has 4, again he's got a mix of both of us, and Chris also has 5.
Did I get the Warlord point when I killed the Inquisitor just then?
That one over there.
Oh, that one's your Warlord. Oh, okay, fine. No, I didn't. Okay, here we go, into turn 5.
Okay, it is end of turn 5, so we're all scrambling to see what victory points we can get for the end of turn, because the game might end. Might not, we'll roll shortly. So, on my turn, I sidled sideways with my strike squad and strung myself out to get within touching distance of the centre objective. Now remember, we're playing kill points, so you get 1 for every enemy unit you kill the majority of if it's removed at the end of the game. But you get 5 for this objective, you get 4 for holding somebody else's home objective, and 3 for holding your own objective. So, my units sidled forward here. I had 2 models in range of claiming the centre one, and then the side cannon at the back of this unit took his 2 pot shots at the Executioner, and it died, which was most excellent, because that would have happily wiped out my Strike Knights. Over here, my Inquisitor, which I think on the last bit of video I said may have been my Warlord. It wasn't the Warlord, the Terminator one was. So the Inquisitor over here and its 2 remaining henchmen attempted to charge into some Imperial Guardsmen, failed to make the distance. They walked forward, first rank fire, second rank fire, obliterated me. So Chris picked up another couple of victory points there. Over here, Paul had his fire dragons run forwards and assault the 3 guardsmen who were entrenched in that ruin. What happened, Chris?
Well, the guardsmen sucked it up and cut 2 of them down, losing a man in return, so they won by a wound, and the fire dragons turned and legged it.
Fire dragons are legging. So if the game ends at the end of this turn, Chris gets the VP for them as they're running at the end. So Paul decided he needed to get these dudes off of this objective. So he opened fire with his War Walkers, but he couldn't see both of the members who were next to the objective. He managed to kill one and another dude at the back of the squad, but I still had somebody in range. So he had also moved forward with his Wave Serpent, and it opened fire with all of its guns at him. I think I had 3 saves to make, but I luckily made them all. So I'm still on the objective, and I even made my leadership check. The cheesy Eldar jet bikes have jetted over here and are holding my home objective. So it's the end of turn 5, and we thought, oh, we'll quickly tote up victory points and see who's winning. Now, you've probably noticed there are lots of victory points on offer, so the chances of a draw are quite minimal. We're all on 11. Seems highly unlikely, so we added it up again, and we're still all on 11. So now we're going to roll to see if the game ends. Is it an unlikely draw on a 1 or a 2? It is an unlikely draw.
Oh my god. That is unbelievable.
I like that. I think it's been a good fun game, so I think that's a nice result actually. That has been good fun.
When I made that mission I decided that it shouldn't ever draw it.
So you made a 3-way draw.
Let's kill points, there's warlord points, and there's 3 different levels of objective scoring points.
Yeah, it's
and we managed
really
to all end up
unlikely.
at the same point. If I hadn't charged with the why did I charge with this fire dragon?
Yeah. Well, then me and you would have drawn. Why did you charge, eh?
Well, if I killed them, it was 6 fire dragons versus 3
Yeah,
Imperial Guards.
if you'd have won, you'd have
Then
won the
that would have
game.
given me a 12th point,
Don't diss the Imperial Guard, man. Don't diss the Imperial
I
Guard.
didn't realise they had a sergeant with them.
I think if the game went on any longer, I think Paul would have probably had it though, because he had
I think so, yeah.
a lot more firepower
You might have
left.
got tabled next round. You've only
Yeah.
got
Well, yeah, I've got these 5 dudes
He
left.
could easily push you off that objective.
Chris has got quite a lot left, but it's not really threatening anything. Whereas Paul's still got Wave Serpent,
surprisingly
those there,
firepower.
2 of those
The
there.
Warwalkers are very vicious still.
Yeah, I think strangely the Manticore shot that crippled his tanks early on, me and you then thought,
we then
"Ooh."
sort of pitied him for
Yeah.
a while, and he mercilessly abused us for it.
I think I didn't count him as a threat at that point because the Warwalkers weren't on the board, so you don't see them, and he only had his Guardians, and it was
The
a bit
Guardians
like
were prone. Well, my first turn, all I moved was my wave serpent.
that's it. So Chris and I were like, well, here, we'll ignore the Eldar, let's hit each other. We did a good job of that.
We did a lot of damage to each other.
But no, I mean, we need to alter the rules slightly for this setup because at the beginning of the game, we choose your points in reverse order and then set up the other way round, and there's lots of distances involved of how far you have to set up away, so basically sort out that you can't set up within 24 of the opponent. But that left Paul, who was setting up last,
Yeah.
I had
in
my
this-
3 tanks there.
yeah, in this
Well,
little
that's why they got
quarter here, so we need to alter those rules slightly, some kind of incremental distance thing.
Yeah, 'cause otherwise Eldrad's going to get in a lap dance from Guardians again.
Yeah,
and
that's it,
Not
so-
pretty.
But other than that, I think it worked quite well. Because the way we do victory point or kill points is it's the majority of the squad killed. So if I were to kill 6 of Paul's 10-man squad, that means that if they die, I get the point, even if Chris kills the remaining 4. So that it brings into play a little bit of a balance where you wouldn't want to kill them, which I quite like.
Your Terminators in the middle.
Yeah,
Chris
that's
killed
it.
3 and I killed 2, so it was a race to kill the last one.
It was.
Yes, I feel that plays quite nicely. It helps balance so people don't pick on each other so much.
Yeah, yes.
Because it's not advantageous to finish off units that your
Even though
opponent's
you
killed.
totally picked on me, you...
I think we may have picked on each other.
we did just go at each other, hammer and tongs in there, and Paul just sort of went, yeah, I'll let you go on that.
I'll just hang back here.
It was very cool.
Throwing the odd shot in.
That's it. Well, that was a good draw, fellas.
Excellent.
Excellent. See you next time.